Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination to KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, and it's sponsored by Hercules First Credit Union and Beehive Meals.
DJ PK, we are joined now by Darius Lassiter.
Not yet. He's still in the huddle.
He's in the huddle.
Yeah.
Sub him in. The BYU wide receiver will join us momentarily after he finishes chatting with Jake. Jake's got him.
Hello.
Darius, good morning.
Good morning.
Darius, that was a struggle there for a while. 5 straight 3 and outs. I guess the last one you went for it on 4th down. So 4 and outs. How does a team not get down on it? So you've probably at some point in your football career when a game's been going poorly felt the team just think, all right, this isn't happening today. You didn't think that, and you found a way to come back and score late in the game. What triggers that?
Yeah, that's just a bunch of guys just believing each other and believing what we can do and not getting down on ourselves. The game is 60 minutes for a reason and 4 quarters, so we just had to play like it.
I love that reception. I thought you guys were gonna carry all the guys on SMU all the way to downtown Dallas. Man, you would not go down. You were like a bull there. What was going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a play for the team. I think it was 3rd down, and we just came out the second half and just wanted to get something started so we can get some momentum going.
They did do a good job against you guys for a while there. When something's on film, other people are going to copy it. What do you have to improve? Because you're going to see more of that.
Yeah, we just got to take what the defense gives us. Not trying to be superheroes and do too much out of what we normally do. And then everything's just gonna fall into place. It's early in the season. We're still coming together and putting the pieces together on this offense and what we need to get done.
Yeah, that seems to be the attitude to take because it is early. You got a bunch of games to go. The way I looked at it is your defense obviously played extremely well, kept you in the game, and then when you needed to get points, and obviously you want points every single possession, but certainly when you needed to get them, you got them. And it seemed like I was at the game in the little auditorium there when you were sitting down doing the interviews and then Retzlaff. It just seems like that the confidence was there that, okay, we realize we didn't play well, but we are developing and we can get this done. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, most definitely. We know everybody on the offense knew that we didn't play great at all and that the defense was there to bail us out. But it's a good thing that we have a defense like that where we can lean on them guys when things aren't going right for us. And the defense just kept telling us that we're going to keep getting the stops for you guys. Just go out there, maintain the ball, and do the things that you guys need to do.
Okay, Darius, don't give us the canned radio answer. Tell us the truth here. How many people saw Matavatase coming on the way he did? Touchdown catches, big catch and a big play to set up the go-ahead touchdown in the 3rd quarter. Did you really see this coming, or is this a guy who the lights go on and he finds a way to make a play?
Yeah, Tava is definitely a gamer. He's gonna make that play that we need. Short hands guy, tight end, and then he blocks phenomenal as well. I can't say that I seen it come in to where he'd be 2 games in, 2 touchdowns, but I know the hard work that he puts in, so I'm not too much surprised about it.
I've been around in this market for a long time and used to be a newspaper writer who covered BYU, so I've been to Laramie, Wyoming several times for football, and I know their fans are always on fire to play BYU because BYU, a long time ago, was everybody's rival, whether in the WAC and the Mountain West. Have the coaches who, a lot of them, whether it was for BYU or another team, have played in Laramie and can speak to it firsthand. Have they told you yet about what to expect? Because that crowd is going to be fired up when you guys come into that stadium.
Yeah, The coaches haven't talked too much about it, just because the game just now came up on us this week. But the players have kind of told me a little bit about it and how they're gonna be in our ears the entire game, and you kind of just got to bring your own energy, and they just love to just to beat us just because of the rivalry aspect as well. So we know we're going into a hostile environment. So, but the good thing about us is Cougar Nation travels deep, and so it's gonna feel like a home game.
Now, you'll know this is going to happen. And so the question is, does it happen? Which day of the week does it happen? But at some point, somebody who's played there is going to tell the players, when you go out for warm-ups, even if it's the earliest warm-up, the first few special teamers go out there to catch punts or whatever, you got to have your helmet on when you leave the locker room. Have you heard that one yet?
Nah, I haven't heard that one yet, but I have heard that people do have thrown piss around and stuff like that. So I'll be on the lookout for that.
You talk about Cougar Nation. I was down there at that game, and it seemed like, particularly at the end, man, when you guys go over to that one corner, man, there were thousands of BYU fans. When you committed to BYU, did you have any idea that no matter where you play, you will have a fair representation of the folks in blue?
Most definitely not. I really didn't know a lot about BYU, but I can definitely tell by the love of the fans that when I had gotten the offer here, and then once I had committed that this was a true fan base and that they was going to show love and support no matter the circumstances, whether we're winning or losing, even though they would rather want us winning. But, it's great to have support like that to where almost every away game can feel like a home game to us.
You had a Friday game. Did you spend all day Saturday watching football?
Yeah. It was a recovery day and football day for me.
And what the heck did you think as you were eating Doritos?
It felt good just to watch football again and just to see all the games coming on. Then just to also learn from guys that we might play this year and just kind of what to expect. Even though it's early, you kind of get a gist of what guys can do and what they bring to the table.
Watching Wyoming and reading up on them, the thought is that they like to play a lot of man-to-man defense in the secondary. Have you watched enough film? Mm-hmm. Can you say that? Have you seen that? And if so, how do you feel about getting challenged one-on-one?
Yeah, we've definitely seen that. Just getting a little head start on film before we go into our prep week. They definitely play a lot of man, which I like our receiving room a lot. In situations like that, I feel like we have the players to go and go make those plays that need to be made. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to go out there and showcase our abilities.
How about your ability downfield to block? Because clearly the run game with the quarterback loosened things up a little bit there, especially with Martin being down. I don't know what his status will be this week, but it seems like that they're going to put the quarterback in a position to gain, whether it's Retzlaff or Bohannon, if he gets an opportunity to gain some yardage with their legs. And so how about your ability and have the level of importance is it for the receivers to keep the blocking going as long as possible?
Yeah, anything after 10, 15 yards, that's on the receiving group to get the job done for the running backs or the quarterback, whoever it may be running. But we know that we're not just pass catchers. So if that means we gotta go run block 100 times a game just to get the win, that's something that we're gonna step up to the challenge and do. So I feel like anybody in the room can go make those game changing blocks for the team.
Is it a different kind of fun to win on the road as opposed to winning at home? And if so, explain why.
Yeah, I feel like it's better to play away games anyway. You go in there in hostile environments and not too many people think that you can do it, and then you guys believe in yourself, and then you ultimately you come out and get the job done, and it's good to kind of see all those home crowd fans just kind of sad about losing and things like that, and then kind of our fans just taking over the stadium and just being as loud as they can be.
Well, I think people will expect you to do it going in this week. I don't think there'll be a lot of doubt in you, but it'll definitely be a hostile environment. So we look forward to talking to you again next week. And any specific stories you have about the hostility at Laramie, we're ready for them. Take good notes.
Definitely. I got you.
Thanks, Darius.
Yeah, thank you.
Darius Lassiter, wide receiver for BYU, joining us right here on The Zone. I saw an early line for that game. Have you seen one?
BYU, Wyoming?
Yeah.
I would say probably the number 8 seems to be sticking in my mind.
That is exactly the number.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is. It's 8.
Oh.
Yeah, BYU by 8 is what I saw. Now, that was yesterday, so maybe it's moved. If someone throws down a lot of money, they'll move the number. But, yeah, it was BYU by 8.
Yeah, I mean, now they're expected to win. They're expected to be 3-0. This would be, it wouldn't be a season-shattering loss, but it'd be bitterly disappointing because it's all about building momentum. And for that, and every team, everybody wants to go 12-0, but hardly anybody's going to go that. And so you've got that, your individual objectives. Utah, playoff. BYU, bowl, and then get as many wins as you possibly can. And so in order to do that, you need to build momentum each week. And even though they didn't play well offensively, clearly defense is sky high. But offensively, they can build some momentum. They got the field goal that they needed to do. And, if they were down by 6, then maybe they could have got a touchdown. But there was no need to be loose and irresponsible with the play calling and all that because you got a good kicker, put him in position, away you go.
They'd had 3 turnovers already. Right. There was no reason to risk the 4th one.
Right. So who's to say if they needed a touchdown, they couldn't have gotten it? I think that specifically plays into play calling. And so they got the field goal with under 2 to go, and away they went. So you could take some momentum and some positivity from that. But you can't afford to go and lay an egg in Laramie. And turnovers would be a significant factor in laying an egg in Laramie. You should win that ball game now. No one is doubting it. It's not like it's going to be a walk in the park. I'm not saying that because having been in that environment.
But you're favored by more than a touchdown. Yeah. This is what's expected.
It would be nice if it could be stress-free. But I don't know how that's going to play out. You never know how games are going to play out most of the time. Sometimes you got USU and USC, you have a pretty good idea. And SUU and Utah, that type of thing. But going forward here, BYU should be in a lot of close games the rest of the way. Maybe this isn't. Maybe they could put it on them. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they're explosive enough yet offensively. I'm not sure if they're explosive enough the whole season offensively. I throw in the word yet now because I can, but we're in game 6, 7, 8. I can't, but I can now because it is early. There is stuff to be discovered about everything regarding your team because we've only played a couple of ball games. Once we get into the heart of the season, you start to get to 6, and then it's downward toward the end of the season. You know who you are. I'm not sure who BYU is offensively. I'm still not sure who they are defensively, but I'm way more encouraged about what I saw. And if you listen, guys like Jay Hill, who we've been interviewing for over 20 years, when he says something, I don't think he's going to say it to just put a positive spin. And he talked about how the second year and being able to have a better familiarity with him, them, vice versa, that alone could make a difference. And they really felt like they upgraded their personnel. Guys got experience last year that could come on and do their thing. And I think we saw that. You can't really go on the week before last because it wasn't a fair competition. This going forward, every game is at least supposed to be fair. You're D1, they're D1, you've got scholarships, they've got blah, blah, blah. And so here we saw it on display, and it was very, very impressive. And SMU may not turn out to be good, but if that's the case, right now they don't know that they're not good. They think they are and it was lesser competition, you can argue, last year in the AAC, but they were rolling up 50 points not routinely, but consistently is the word I'm looking for. And they did that. And you held them without a friggin' touchdown, man. That's impressive.
Doesn't matter who you play. Even if you're playing down division, you feel good when you keep people out of the end zone for 3 hours. And all the better that they did it on the road against a team that, at least recently, was pretty explosive. And a team that at Nevada was held down for 3 quarters. And then, man, when they needed the points, they got them in the 4th.
Right.
But this went better as it went along.
Yeah. And fortunately for SMU, they had just a dynamite field goal kicker. He was dropping 50-yarders like they were PATs. Very impressive, obviously. And other than that, that was it, man. And they ought to be fired up for that from the defensive unit. Offense, at least don't turn the ball over, because the turnovers, two of them, I think were
preventable.
Preventable is a good word. I was going to go I didn't want to go inexcusable. The one where they threw the screen in the middle, the lineman was down and then got up. He made a heck of a play. So I'll credit SMU a little bit more than Retzlaff being too loose or making a mistake. It was a very good play.
When you're getting sacked the way he was, better just to take the sack.
Yeah.
Don't try to flip the ball out. That happened in a pro game. Oh, that was in the Bears game. The Bears got a pick six to win the game off a similar deal where it's like you just got to take the sack sometimes.
Right. Especially where you were out on the field. Now, if I remember correctly, BYU, that was what's-his-face, the Weaver Collins kid. He stepped in and made the pick. And he talked about how he named a Coach Johnson, who's one of the analyst dudes or whatever, told him to be aware for that. And he credited the coach for doing that, and he made a great play.
He said the coach had a dream, and it was this specific route combination.
Right. I mean, that's just so typical. I mean, we've said all along, BYU has a higher power working for them, and that was the classic example. I don't know how you could deny it.
There's a dream.
Right. Yeah. Right. We often say he doesn't care, but how do we know he doesn't care? I mean, what gives you the right to speak for him if I can? Yeah, I mean, let's go back.
Magic happens.
You know?
Robert and I.
Magic happens.
It do.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Bravo, Robert.
Especially when I'm there. I was there for the original Magic Happens. You know, it's like this summer they had a Twister.
Magic Happens.
It was a remake, right? Well, Robert and I was just basically having a remake of the original Magic Happens.
He was.
And I understand my guy Austin now is on BYU TV, right?
Yep.
Oh, that guy speaks his mind. He always has. That's why I loved interviewing. I loved watching him play, and I loved interviewing him because if he had something to say, he'd say it no matter what the ramifications were. He'd tell you the truth as he saw it. The guy was a baller, and he's a great interview. He just lives his life like that.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. More reaction from you to a full weekend of football next. Stay with us.
Hut, 20 hike, 20. It's game week for the Cougars. And the Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. After a battle against SMU, Kalani Sitake and the Cougars hit the road to battle former Mountain West Conference rival Wyoming in Laramie. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then catch the Cougar pregame show this Saturday at 6, with a postgame show immediately following the game. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app.
Yeah, boy.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hot Takes and Toast brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Reaction coming into the games over the weekend. How about that gutty win by the Cougars?
Oh, we will be victorious.
Christopher's just throwing cold water all over it. We had the same optimism last year after 3 wins, including at Arkansas.
Okay.
If the offense doesn't get their act together, we're in for another long and difficult season.
Brutal. They're not going to get their act together. Just give it up. Start worrying about basketball. Yeah, I mean, you did. I mean, that's a fact. You can't argue it. Your quarterback got hurt, and things went to pot. At least now you've got guys who have experience behind Retzlaff. I thought they might make a change. I was anticipating it. But they didn't. And it worked out. They won the ball game. I don't know now if that compounds it. So if they get in the first half or in the third quarter next week in the offense or this week and the offense isn't doing anything, well, now you got 2 So do you go ahead and make the change at that point? Remains to be seen. And
I thought when times got tough, and I'm with you, I wondered if they were going to make a change, but I thought they leaned a little heavier on the quarterback run game, and then since it worked, that took the pressure off and didn't need to make the change.
Yeah, but I mean, Bohannon, you can argue, is a better runner. I don't know if but Retzlaff is fine. If Bohannon's a better runner, I don't think it's substantially better. Retzlaff has athleticism. He can move around. There's no doubt about it. And he's got size. He's not super big, but he's not smaller either. Obviously, having stood next to him. So he can move around, and I think he's got good instincts as a runner.
I do think, to your point, what are Kalani and A-Rod thinking if there's another stretch of 3 and outs?
Right.
Or if there's more turnovers, depending on what the turnovers look like.
Yeah, I mean, tip passes
might not hold him responsible for that.
Kid drops the ball.
Right, yeah.
Or he gets a strip sack because somebody blinds him.
Blindside, right.
Those things happen. You can't.
But if there's turnovers, you look at it and think, well, that shouldn't be happening. Mm-hmm. How quick is the hook now?
Yeah, and that's something that they have to figure out and massage to the best of their ability and what's best interest for the team.
And they can argue either way. Well, now they've seen him turn it around in the middle of the game, so maybe they would trust him to turn it around.
Yeah, but it was about the play calling, I think, too.
What was about the play calling?
The running.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how he turned it around.
Yep.
He didn't turn around sitting in the pocket picking him apart.
Nope.
It was they said what they told me in March is they were going to utilize the run game. And Jake Scott, I know you're listening. You made fun of that. Well, ha ha. You've got egg on your face now, buddy.
Because it not only opened up the run game, but then it opened up other big plays off it.
Clearly did.
The direct snap and then the handoff pitch to him. And so
very tricky.
People are defending the direct snap, but they're aware there's something else coming. Oh, now he's going to run it, but they weren't ready for the throw to the tight end.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The deception that sets up the decoy that sets up the play, which is the same way jet sweep. No, it's a quarterback key. Oh, it's an option. The third one got him.
Whatever you need to do to move the ball. And that's what they did. So utilize, if needed, Retzlaff, run them as much as you need. And that's what it boiled down to. They needed him to do that to win the game. And that's a risk that you're willing to take. That's football, right? That's where you have to utilize the quarterback in whichever way to win the game. Now, you can argue with Rising, he doesn't need to run to win the game. BYU needed Retzlaff to run to win the game. And that was a fact. And they needed to win that game. They need to pile up as many wins as they possibly can. And because they may have a game or two that you get deep in the second half and it's not winnable. This one, obviously, with that defensive effort, would be winnable. If they get a defensive effort close to that in the remaining, what do they got, 10 games? However many games they can get a defensive effort like that, you will be in the game.
The average college score is usually somewhere in the high 20s or right at 30 points a game. So when your defense is holding people in the teens, you got to win.
Right.
And you can't be that far out of it. I mean, you're only down 2 scores if they're only giving up 2 scores.
That would have been a nasty loss. You don't want to waste an effort like that from the other side of the football. And I think that those guys, those dudes, they got some guys that can play defensively. And so that's what's really cool about that, is that it wasn't like, oh, that was a one-shot deal. The Glasgow kid really impressed me, man, with his ability to move around. He came in and did post-game. He's a big kid. He's got ability. He might be a pro-type guy down the line. He's going to get a shot because usually BYU's put a number of linebackers in the NFL, and we say this about Utah. If you're starting at certain positions young, you probably have an opportunity to play pro. Well, linebacker BYU has proven that too. And so that's something that they could really build upon. And they brought pressure from different spots, great game calling. You can't say enough about that defensive effort. And now every one of them is like, okay, we thought we could do this. Well, now you know you can do it, man. You know you can do it.
Did it on the road. Kept them out of the end zone.
Right. That's where I'm super excited to see what they can do, how much they can build upon it, how much they can maintain it. What do they got going on there defensively?
That'll look good this week. Wyoming's offense has been struggling here through the first two games, and the BYU defense has looked really good through the first two games. You would think those trends would continue. I know. You never know. That's why I went with think. You would think they continue.
Yeah. I mean, it's still one game that they played against somebody at their level. And so I can't say, oh, man, this defense is going to be lights out. And we compare everything to each other. And Utah's defense, a lot of proven commodities, so they're not doing this for the first time. The defensive for Utah doesn't really need a coming-out performance because so many of the guys have played, the two linebackers, and we'll speak to Kearney Reed here in about 20 minutes. This guy seems like he's been doing it for 5-6 years. And Barton, he knows what he's doing there too. And the guys up front, O'Toole was injured last year. Well, boom, he gets a big sack this year, or strip sack, I think it was there. And Fillinger, this guy's a senior now. They've been in these situations many times over. For BYU, it's a little bit more of a difference that they've got to back it up. They've got to prove it again. I think they can, but I'm going to go with the word think. Because obviously if you're losing to Idaho, but maybe Idaho is one of these teams that Idaho doesn't get the credit because they've bounced around from divisions and they moved back. When you play one of the Montanas or the Dakotas, oh, man, they're a really good team.
Well, I was curious about this, so I looked it up, and the Dakotas are the top 2 ranked teams. The Montanas are ranked 3 and 4, and Idaho's 7. So Idaho's good.
You want to know how good Idaho is? Utah took a running back off of their roster. Now, Anthony Woods has a torn ACL, but they thought he was going to be a difference maker.
So we don't.
But they see Big 12 talent.
Idaho used to be really good at that level. Then they moved up, right? Mm-hmm. Now they're back. So maybe that's where they need to be, and they're just a lot better than we thought. Because if it would have been like South Dakota State, was it North Dakota? Who played Colorado?
South Dakota State.
Yeah. Well, they're getting all sorts of praise. Deservedly so.
It was North Dakota State who played Colorado. South Dakota State played Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Right. That's why I asked.
You're right.
Because I knew that that both of them played.
But South Dakota State had the 29-game win streak.
Yeah, and we talk about them. Yeah. Well, so maybe Idaho belongs in that conversation. We'll see in December if they get a bid and away they go. But maybe they're just a lot better than we thought.
They've got something going. To what degree?
Well, yeah. I mean, they freaking battled Oregon, which I've been saying all year. I don't believe in Dylan Gabriel as a big-time quarterback. I don't know why he was the favorite to be the Heisman guy. I don't see it. Once you start going to your third school, that just wait a second here.
Yeah. And that was a good win for them against Boise. So I think that means the Idaho performance up there, we were impressed by it. It stands up. To your point about Gabriel, they got 2 special teams touchdowns in a 37-34 win.
Right.
Now, he doesn't get to go out on the field because of that, because now the defense is back out there, but nonetheless.
Yeah, so I'm a little hesitant, but Wyoming, you got blown out by a team picked 16th in the Big 12.
Okay, but that might be a bad pick, too.
We're nobody. We got nothing.
I know. Thank you.
We're all a piece of crap.
You and Dillingham might as well be politicians at a convention with the joined hands and the raising. And
I'm just hearing what the leader says from the program. What do you want from me, man?
I mean, the second half changed, but like 6 quarters into the season, you're like, what are you, like the 4 Horsemen or something? Or like,
hey, going by what the guy says.
One of Nick Saban's best teams? Or what are you doing there? He came back to earth a little in the second half.
I didn't watch the second half.
It was 30-3.
I know what the score.
Finished
I watched the
30-23,
first
so
half.
you know it came back to earth in the second half.
I had to get up early. I had to
you had to get on an airplane. Yeah.
Right. So I had to be available to move about the cabin.
Although the clutchiness of the offense, when the game tightens up and there's 5.5 minutes left or whatever, and they always have that 4-minute drill. Offenses work on killing off the last 4 minutes of the game, but they converted a 4th down and 12 plays, 50 yards, never gave them the ball back. That was for a non-scoring drive, that was really good.
Well, they could have scored.
Yeah. But they were here to run out the clock.
They were coached to run out the clock.
Right. They did what they had to do to win the game.
Yeah, he talked about that.
That was impressive.
But being blown out, nevertheless, and then losing to Idaho in a way that just increases the pressure on BYU. Because now you're expected to win.
I think what you said earlier. Oh, yeah.
And Kalani spoke multiple times last week about the other guy being favored.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that this week.
He played the underdog, and it worked. Yeah. It worked. He pressed the right buttons and got the performance out of him. But they are 8.5-point favorites in this game. And you're right what you said earlier, like Wyoming, all sorts of frustration. But at least beat BYU. They know what the people want.
I think that they need to have the Laramie South missionaries at this ball game.
You think that was the key?
Uh-huh. Laramie South, even better.
Laramie South. Not Laramie North.
Didn't they? They put on the thing on the scoreboard.
Dallas.
It was a Dallas North or Dallas. I mean, I saw it.
Yeah, but Dallas has multiple missions.
Right.
Yeah, but Laramie.
Dallas is
small.
Dallas is one of the biggest cities in America, and Laramie's got 3 exits.
But
does it have 3?
I don't know. I drove through it once. I didn't count.
Yeah, I'm not sure it has 3.
It might have 2.
It might have 2?
At best.
It ain't big.
No, it definitely has 2.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a growing area.
Oh, yeah. Thriving.
I know because we got off and we got back on a different exit. I know there were 2. I can't guarantee 3.
My first experience in Laramie, driving up there and getting off the main exit to, don't look it up.
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter.
Go ahead. Tell your story about you were up there back in the day.
And I pull off, get off I-80. I'm coming up I-25 and then over and get off. And I am behind a truck. And there's a bumper sticker on the back of the truck. It says, ditch the, and it rhymes with ditch, let's go hunting.
Welcome to Laramie.
And I'd heard so much about it, and I had to laugh about it because the bumper sticker made me laugh. But I will say my experiences with the folks of Laramie, outstanding, especially the ones who work for the university. Super nice, super helpful. They did everything possible to make your stay enjoyable, and it was as professionally run as any program that I've been at, and I've been at many of them throughout the country. So I have a warm spot for the folks of Laramie. And I know some of them can get out of hand. I get that. But I think that
wear your helmet out of the locker room in pregame.
The overwhelming majority are great people, salt-of-the-earth type people. I sort of root for Wyoming because they're obviously, man, they're way underdogs. I mean, come on.
Yep.
And anytime they can have success, and Bull did a phenomenal job there, and we'll see what happens. I felt bad when I saw the score that they lost to Idaho. And I think they'll lose to BYU. I think they'll be 0-3. We'll see.
DJ and PK, reaction to the Utes and their win and Cam Rising's injury next.
It's game week for the Utes, and the Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. After a long layoff, the Utes and Aggies will resume their rivalry with a battle in Logan. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah and Utah State football and your chance to win tickets to the game. Then catch the Ute pregame show this Saturday at 1:30 on 97.5 FM and the Aggie pregame show on 1280 AM with the postgame shows immediately following the game. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
But now they will go from 50. Made the decision for him. Hankins had it blocked. Teo Johnson on the move. Bono and Fillinger got the hand on it to spring him free. Teo Johnson touchdown.
Teo Johnson with the touchdown. There is the Chevy Strong play of the game. Know it this afternoon after 3 o'clock. The guys that come on the air, Alex and JJ, and they will ask for it, and you can win fabulous prizes. A lot of people reacting to the win, PK. How worried are we about the Utes now? Jaden says they can still be good with their defense and their deep running backs. Wilson will learn. The only struggle is they lose a lot of the playbook with Cam Rising out. That is pretty optimistic there, Jaden.
What?
Deep running backs and Wilson will learn. In time to win the Big 12? That seems like a reach.
No, but I don't know that Rising's going to be out that long.
I expect he'll be back for the Utah State game. We'll see. I don't know that, but
I don't think they need him to beat Utah State. I think it's a situation where we had several years ago where John Beck was injured, did not play, and they put Jason Beck. Now, Jason Beck had played junior college ball, and I believe that was his second year at BYU, so it's a lot different in this circumstance.
Than playing a true freshman.
Yes, and they went over there and came into Provo, and BYU won handily.
Brooks says Isaac plays against Utah State, and Cam will be back for Oklahoma State. The Utes will be fine. Tony's a little worried. They're pretty vanilla without Cam at the helm.
Yeah, but I think it was clear they were playing not to lose the game at that point.
I think you're right.
And so they can do other things, use other guys like they did that little quick little shuffle pass to Moolah Parks. Have them run fake and have them run around the edge. So they've got opportunities. I think it's much easier to prepare when you have a week than when you have a few seconds.
Andrew, Cam didn't break anything. It's a bad laceration. He'll be fine. Andrew will have none of this talk. Dismissing it all. Although I do think Andrew's onto something.
It's a bad laceration. Okay, yeah. But it's not your laceration, so how do you know?
Your laceration.
Yeah.
Nelly, I think they need to change the backup. Wilson isn't it right now.
Well, how do you know the other guys are?
You don't know that. I don't think they're trying to pick the wrong backup.
Well, how can you say that? That he is the other guys are better if he isn't it? I don't know if he's it. He's a freshman. He's probably not it. Let's let the kid develop a little bit, man.
Jeff, if they have to go with Wilson for an extended period, they're in for some rough games.
I agree.
I don't think they're going to have to go with him for an extended period right now. Now,
based
something
on
else can happen in the next game or two.
Right.
Sure.
Maybe it does. Hopefully it doesn't.
Ute fans, how worried are you, Kelly? Not at all. Unless Cam is out again.
Well, that's the point.
That is the point. The Utes' defense, Daniel says, is possibly the best in the Big 12. Isaac Wilson can move the ball. It wasn't his fault. They didn't call many passes. They called a ton of runs. Yeah, he was 4 of 9 for 30 yards. They did run the ball a lot. Shorten the game and get out of there with the win.
It's all about winning the game.
Yep.
And, yes, so what is the situation next week? Whenever it is, as far as that goes. You look at what the Utes did last year. They played UC Los Angeles, right? And what was that kid's name? Moore. He's coming in, and right off the bat, he throws up. Corey Reed will have him on in 5 minutes. First play, pick 6, right? And then that was a low-scoring game. Well, because Utah had quarterback issues, but they won the game, and that's really all that matters. So call the game depending, and especially, too, if you had a whole week to prepare the kid. He would be better next week than he would be this week, but I wouldn't look at him to be anything close to rising, as I wouldn't look, and it's nothing against him, it's them. First-year freshman. Now, as I understand, he was a little bit older in high school, and so he's not the typical 17, 18-year-old freshman. But still, you have to allow everybody an opportunity to flourish in their own timeline. His timeline is not now, but if they need to force-feed him a little bit, I think they can, and most importantly, they'll win the game.
17-year-old freshman. You going back to Brian Johnson? 17-year-old freshman, Gordon Hayward was up at 7 a.m. I mean, there's a few things we've heard a few times.
Yeah. Did he play? How much did Brian play as a freshman?
He didn't
play at all
as a freshman. If he did, it was a few
Just
snaps. I mean, Alex Smith was rolling and healthy and dominating.
Was that the same? That was the same year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brian Johnson was there for both undefeated seasons, but didn't play the first one.
Okay.
Not meaningful snaps anyway.
Right.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We are talking with Utah linebacker Karene Reed next.